One of my favorite ways to catch fish, right after the basket off the beds are on these floating boat docks. And here recently, I was fortunate enough to win that FLW tour, and I got a lot of questions about it because a lot of my fish every morning came straight off the floating docks. I was able to catch a good limit the first day and several key fish the rest of the week all off those floating docks. And one of the big key things that I've found about that is that time of year, all over the country I've been to, is the shad spawn on those docks that time of year. When the bass get off the beds, about right after that time, a lot of those shad will come up into these docks in the early morning hours, and they actually spawn all night long and into the early morning hours on the docks. And what they're trying to do is there's a lot of algae on those docks and on the boats, and that's where they go up there and deposit their eggs while they're spawning, and the bass just follow them. And that's kind of one of the best ways I found to catch them, and most reliable ways all over the country, from Lake Texoma to Lake Norman and all in between, everywhere I've been. You can catch them immediately after that. And it's really pretty simple. But the biggest key with it is the bite is generally best first thing in the morning. That's due to the fact that the shad go to spawn in that time of the morning. They've been spawning all night. The bass been feeding on them all night. Then the morning time comes, and then you've got probably about a 2-hour window in there to really catch them. And then after that point, you can still catch fish because they're still living around it. But it generally, a lot of days, it seems to get tougher. Morning always seems to be better that time of year. One of the best ways to catch them that time of year that I've found is on this jig. This is the same bait right here that I used at Norman to catch all my fish, and it's real simple. It's just a white jig with a Zoom Speed Craw trailer, just the smaller size one in pure white. White skirt, white trailer, and it really seems to work good. The little kickers on the back just really give it a lot of action, and they love it. So let me show you how you throw it. The presentation's really pretty simple, especially with the jig. You're just simply going to throw it up in the stall, and then just let it sink down maybe a foot or two to begin with. And then I just simply swim it back. Just a slight tap, just a little bit, just to kind of just kind of make it jut along, and just basically swim it along real easy, just like, almost like a spinner bait, just kind of tapping it along. Throw it in there and just bring it out and just kind of tap it. Now the key is, really when you get into this dock fishing, is where they're positioned in the water column. Some days, a lot of days, like on this jig, you can catch them right off the bat high in the water column. They'll be right underneath the floats. Let it sink down a foot or two and then just bump it along. It seems like as the sun gets up and you get a nice bright day like we have here today, they seem to get lower in the water column, kind of down away from that, trying to stay away from the sun, and a little bit lower. Even on cloudy days, I've caught them deeper that way, just on up in the day. And then you just have to experiment what level of the water column they're going to be in. And then once you figure that out, if you throw it in there and you count to 3 or 4 or 5, and then you start and you get bit, well, just keep reproducing that. But you have to experiment to figure out where they're positioned that day. The fish usually stay on the docks, but one day they'll be up high, one day they might be deeper, one day they might be out on the ends on the points, and one day they might be back in the stalls. That's what you have to figure out every day when you approach those docks.